Period poverty is real, and just like any other poverty, it can be debilitating. It can take different forms. It has emotional, physical, and mental health complications on individuals. In Zimbabwe, period poverty is still prevalent, especially on the poor and marginalized communities. That's why it has to be everyone's business. Welcome to Young and Health, where we tackle everything concerning the sexual and reproductive health rights of the young people. And today I'm joined by Herbert, Chikosi, and Tari on the conversation Breaking the Silence Around Period Poverty. And my name is Visli. Welcome to Young and Health.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
So for a start, I don't know which one would like to start first. I would let us define what period poverty is.
Okay, thank you very much for such an important program. Period poverty is the inability of young people, young women, to access menstrual products and knowledge about menstrual health management due to various reasons in different settings and circumstances.
Okay. To you, Tari, as well. You can always just give us your definition.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yep.
Well, I would also say the same, but instead of just putting young in the bracket, I also like to involve every single woman who's still menstruating. So as long as you're menstruating, as long as you see your period every single month,
yes,
you are also likely to be affected by period poverty. So yeah.
Okay. So moving on. You've given us the definition of period poverty, but what really causes it? What are the causes of period poverty?
There are various factors that affect that contributes to period poverty.
Okay.
Number one is the accessibility of menstrual health products.
Okay, so just do them one by one in their categories. I think that would help. Okay.
In terms of accessibility of menstrual health products, they are out of reach, especially to young girls who are economically disadvantaged.
Yeah.
There is also lack of access to comprehensive information about menstrual health management due to stigma, due to cultural beliefs, as well as the society that we live. There's a serious culture of silence that is associated with periods.
Yes.
Number two, availability of the products.
Mm-hmm.
They are not readily available.
Yeah.
The standard products to be used by women and young girls.
Okay.
They are not readily available because of the cost. Then issue of affordability is another aspect that contributes to period poverty.
Yes.
Not all young people or women, especially those who are marginalized and who are economically disadvantaged.
Mm-hmm.
The major contributing factor is the position of women in the society, especially in Zimbabwe. We are coming against a background of patriarchy, where access to resources are predominantly shaped by men.
Yes.
So, taken together with the aspect of the economy and stigma that is associated with periods, men tend not to support women in terms of that aspect.
Okay, still on that issue on the causes of period poverty, you mentioned something about lack of information, and it seems like people are not really talking about it. Terry, I feel like you have something to say on that.
Yeah, most definitely I do. Actually, when it comes to menstruation and silence, it's something that is contributing to the whole chaos, because we can't really talk about it. I mean, it's starting from the level of parenthood. Mm-hmm. You're just introduced to the fact that, you know, you are now grown, you're now going to be seeing this period thing every single month, you keep quiet about it. So there isn't much talk around what I'm experiencing, my first time, the hormonal complications, the emotional distortions, even the appetite. Like, it affects almost every single aspect of a woman. Exactly. We're not talking about it. And from family, we're talking about our workspaces. We're talking about our relationships with people, with friends. Do you even tell your boyfriend that you're on your period? We don't do that. You can ask for bare allowances, you can ask for transport money, you can ask for rent, but it's really rare to find a girl that can actually feel like there's need for a guy to consider or to even know. Just basically knowing, me telling you that I'm on my period doesn't mean I need you to buy me pads. I just need you to know, because there are changes that are going to be happening and you just need to know this is what's going on with my girlfriend. And from there, do women talk about this with their husbands? Do women talk about this with their sons? You know, the silence is killing us. Yet, the bottom line is, we're all coming from wombs. We're all products of menstruation. Without this process, zero population. So why are we not talking about it?
So education is really of importance when it comes to trying to reduce period poverty, and together with other causes. I'm happy you mentioned that there are categories. It comes from economic, from social. It involves every aspect of our life, so it has to be everyone's business. So I would what exactly, okay, since we've talked about the causes of period poverty, what is it like, the effects, after effects of period poverty? We just need to enlighten on that.
It cuts across every facet. I also forgot to mention that even at policy level, we don't have an explicit policy that addresses mental health management. Kenya has got one, and for us, that policy void creates a situation where these issues are not discussed. So it's part and parcel of SRH, or just slipped under to talk about it. However, what can be the effects of period poverty? It has to do with the psychosocial support of young girls. Young girls miss school, especially the first 3 days of their menses, because they don't want to attend, because they might leak in class, and at the end of the day they become free material for jokes. Because boys who actually start to laugh at them, they are given names, they are Apollo, it will affect their self-esteem.
In most instances, they would have to drop out. So
they will miss plus or minus 4 days of school every month, which will also affect their attendance, their school attendance,
which is very sad.
Number two, because of limited products, they end up using substandards material. For example, in our communities, they might pick up the raw cotton from the field, which is very dangerous. Both there's with chemicals, there's with stuff like that, and even when they get soaked, there will be a bulge. Having a bulge, boys start to make fun out of them. So there are healthy consequences that are associated by using substandard mental health material. The other issue in terms of self-esteem, they also miss work. So the production side of young women are also affected. Imagine 800 million women menstruate every day. And if 800 million women does not go to work or attend their productive duties,
production is affected.
It also affects them, especially the issue of the economy. Then it also affects women participation. Be it in sports, be it in gyms, they will feel they will have low self-esteem. And lastly, because of stigma, women are discriminated. There are a lot of myth and misconception. For example, in our communities like Mwenezi, Bikita, there's a culture of kutsindira, where young women who have got painful periods. My colleague has spoken about the issue of appetite and stuff. Periods also comes with other issues like dysmenorrhea, like like diarrhea and stuff like that. So young women are then forced to actually indulge in sex, not because they want to indulge in sex, but because they want to relax their cervix so that they will not have painful periods, which is a very dangerous issue because it will result in pregnancies, it will result in STI. And also, that culture of silence will also limit movement of young women and girls. For example, if you are on your menses, you are not supposed to pass through a groundnut field, or you are not supposed to attend to cattle because they will have stillborns. So it will constrict women's movement. You are not supposed to travel long distances when you are on your menses. Imagine your interview comes during that moment.
And then you're faced by those old mates.
So period poverty has impacted on the urges of women, the ability for them to make decisions and participate in politics, in social issues, and in every facet of life.
Tari, I can see you have a lot to say there.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but on the issue of using some very dangerous materials for menstruation, like corners of mattresses, cardboard boxes, and the worst tissues, it's bad. It's totally bad. And I feel like already this affects our nation. I feel like as long as this issue is not addressed, we can never really reach our full potential in every sector as a nation. Because it's like 50-50. The other 50 that doesn't menstruate really doesn't care about the other 50 that menstruates. And, well, women are more than men, so that makes it more than 50. And if their production is limited like that literally affects the entire nation's performance. So as long as period poverty is not addressed, it's going to keep affecting our performance as a nation.
Very true. Yeah, which also comes back to what I've said in the beginning, that period poverty has to be everyone's business. It really has to contain every part. I mean, it has to include everyone, no matter you're male, a leader, or whatever. Everyone has to be included in this call to end silence on period poverty. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
But poor baby. As the problem as it I want to skis a share.
Have the bean handy shaita and first round done, but then we said Yashika 40, but then one was who buys a notion to Rabba 40.
But you are sweet and baby, and there's no Jesu.
It's a English time.
I says a Nagasha.
Then go now.
Manake, wakalokiri toy. Vato manake. Wacho. Vato yo. Chichi lukutika muno. Ya chichi lukutika muno. Yo muno unangaji ndapinda muno mnakati paketi. Manake ndo kwanza so. Jana muno. Muno bana famu pale. Yo. Awuna kana tsona cho. Right. Uyala tukuna, uyala tukuna.
Welcome back. We're still on our conversation, breaking the silence around period poverty, and we have been talking about the causes of period poverty and the effects they have on individuals. And as we continue, we want to know how best can we tackle this issue to make sure it's being reduced in our societies? How best can period poverty be reduced?
Okay, it is very important to address the issue of poverty. It requires all of us to put our ducks in a row to ensure that we promote dignity for women.
Yes.
So we propose a scenario where male involvement is critical. I know you're saying everybody should be involved. Yes, everyone should be involved. But from where I stand, I believe men should take a leading role. Yes, I explained about the economic advantage, advantage that we have from history. Yes. From resources, and also the ability also to determine and make decisions. So every father or every man out there should support and invest in ending period poverty. That's a good one. Yes. Yeah. I always illustrate to say, if men do not take the leading role, we are not going anywhere. Because they need to appreciate, and the much of the stigma that we talk about comes from men in the society. Number two, we need to have a social re-engineering. We need to demystify the myth. Yeah. Period is not a case. It's not a disease. It's the pride of womanhood. Yes. So if we want to ensure the pride of womanhood, all of us should get involved. Exactly. We're talking about comprehensive information. It's the role of everyone, be the parent, the guardian, and that's why we say we need to strengthen positive parenting, where men take the leading role. I will support my daughter, I will talk to her about periods, and when she starts to have a periods, I'll actually procure a period pack where I put chocolates, wipers, and pads, and also share information to her. Then at a national level, we need a mental health hygiene policy. That's right. That policy vacuum creates a very difficult situation to prioritize issues around period. The moment we balkanize issues around menstruation as part of SRH, not in isolation, we tend to ignore it completely. Yes. Because it's an issue which has been where culture, where our even religion. For example, there's in religion when women are menstruating, they're not supposed to attend church. Yes. But I've always had a question: does the word of God comes vaginally, or it comes the other way around? Exactly. Yeah. It exposes young women. For example, in Miss Church, and I say, I didn't see you in choir. Yeah. What are you going to say? You start to have low self-esteem. Exactly. And then we also count your days, and then it will be very easy for me to abuse you. So we need also to have a change of approach in our churches. That policy will help programmers to really reinforce and enforce MHM issues in programming. Yeah. That's right. And lastly, the issues of making the products available. Right. You know, look at the iron in Zimbabwe. We are one of the leading producers of cotton. But our young girls are not accessing sanitary pads. Exactly. Number two, we need also to ensure that we make reusable sanitary pads that are accessible to young people in the rural areas. Yeah.
And at a very cheaper price.
Issue of soap.
Yes.
We need to ensure that there is water and sanitation.
Yeah.
Because it's not only about pads. We can make pads available.
Yes.
But if there's no soap to wash their bodies, if there's no clean water for them to wash, we'll be doing nothing.
Yes.
So let's try to demystify the myth, provide, making the products and information and facilities accessible, available, and affordable to every young women and all those who are menstruating.
That's very true.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting. And Tari, how best can we normalize menstruation?
I feel like for a start, talking about it. For a start, talking about it will work. Like what he was saying, if we take on positive parenting and the father is actually the one who's talking about this, it makes it a freer topic to talk about. You're more free to engage when it comes to talk around menstruation. From school level, if they have girl-friendly toilets, for a start, girl-friendly toilets, it will make it easier to maneuver yourself around school. You know you can take a shower when you need to.
Yes.
You know you can be excused when you need to. And if our teacher is actually, at my school at some points we had we always knew that if we had menstrual issues, there were a couple of specific teachers we'd be able to go to. I feel like that works as well. Because this is not like we are already in a world where it's already okay. So for a start, I feel like if they have a couple of teachers they can approach and they know these teachers really stand for these issues around menstruation when they need information, exactly know where to go. So I feel like that would help. So those teachers will be able to also disseminate information, and that will make it less hard to talk about it, less hard to work with it.
So it sounds like there's need of a lot of menstrual education in schools.
Exactly, beyond just the biological mechanism, like, so this is the uterus and this is how it works. I feel like there should be deeper talk around it, because we have all learned about it. Like all of us, for us to be, we have learned about it in biology class, 1 or 2 biology sessions, but have we really taken time to talk about it at length?
For me, the empowerment comes from the girl child. For her to fully express about these issues. Because as long as she doesn't have the self-esteem to talk about it, we will still go back to our issues. You can't tell your boyfriend that you are on the red. You start to say, I'm having some stomach ache. The moment you start to do that, then it's not empowerment.
That's very true.
Yes,
that's very true.
So okay, we have been talking about how we can reduce our period poverty. So there's an interesting point you said about we need to provide so that these are access to period poverty, to menstrual products. So how exactly can access to menstrual health product be bettered, looking at the situation in our area in Zimbabwe?
In our case, I'll talk for machine, but then I'll try to also propose some solutions at a macro level.
It's okay.
For us, we can utilize the structure that are there from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education.
Okay.
Because in every school, I guess they're doing fashion and fabrics. And we can allocate a budget towards that.
That's a good
And then the teachers will then make reusable standard pads in our fashion and fabrics. And even within our communities, we have got community cooperatives, community structures that are there. We can also empower them to make reusable standard pads within their communities. And then the number 2, we can, in terms of access to information, we can also train both the parents, parent-to-child communication, like what Shayana did earlier on. If something is said home in a factual and correct way, there's one connectedness between the parent and the child. Number 2, there is also issue of habituation. They will tend to adopt it easier because it's said home. So if MHM issues are addressed at a micro level at home, it will be very strong. The number 3, the issue of religion. We need to engage these guys from the church to to really consider that if, after all, the woman is not dead. I think we need to, it's something that gives me emotions to continue to talk about women as dead, a period is dead and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the number, at a macro level, the government should ensure that there is no duty for sanitary pads.
Yes.
And if efforts, there should be a specific fund to cater to provide free sanitary pads to the rural girls. I know people say we focus much on the rural girl. Yes, it's true. And there's also strong urban poverty.
Yes.
So I don't want to steer the word is list to say condoms are provided for free and the people should plan about sex. Sex is not. It's something that an individual can plan to have.
Yeah.
But you cannot decide to actually have periods.
Exactly.
I don't want that comparison. But what I'm going to propose is that we need to have a specific fund taken from people from our hard-earned cash. For me, I would be very happy if my tax goes to MHM issues, because I know I would have invested in a young girl. I know I would have brought self-esteem to the young girl. That she will attend school, she will participate in sporting activities.
Sorry, you can as well add on.
Oh, well, I actually believe in what he was saying when he was talking about demystifying the whole concept of menstruation. It's creepy how people have been existing for centuries. Women have been menstruating for centuries.
Yes.
And it's still not clear what menstruation is. So I feel like, I believe in the aspect of demystifying the whole thing, please. People out there just need to know what exactly menstruation is and what it's all about. There's nothing that would hurt more than having to, we look at cases like Nepal, having to be moved to a menstruating hut where you have to cleanse yourself for the entire week until your period is done. That's wrong. You know, and it's probably going to contribute to issues like mental health, instability, and stuff like that. Like, there's so much connected to this that it's a state of urgency kind of thing. And I remember last year when we had this awareness campaigns and everything, and we actually met women who are way older than us, like mature girls, and they didn't even know things like menstrual cups. So I feel like no matter, urban girls, I feel like no matter how much we think we are there, effort still needs to be put, you know, we need to add to the awareness, we need to add to the education so that a person can actually understand and know their options around menstruation, what really works for you, and stuff like that. And I feel like that will add to the confidence that you're talking about when you know what works for you. You're not just using a sanitary pad because it's all you have. You know you have your options. You have tampons and stuff. Demystifying tampons. You know they say that virginity and tampons. There's a really strong conversation around that. So I feel like a person needs to know their options. Needs to know they can pick from a select few and use what works for them.
No, I'm just can one. I think from your point, we need actually to have a vaginal monologues. Let's talk about the vagina.
Yes.
And people would appreciate more.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is specifically to you, Habit. What is you're part of the organization that caters for that. What exactly is the organization doing to help in reducing period poverty? Okay,
thank you very much for the good question. I'm habit before I joined the organization. So issues around periods also affect me at a personal level before I So I will say, what am I doing? Then I also talk about what we're doing. I'm one guy who also invests time with. I've got daughters whom I take care of. So I prepare them. I prepare them emotionally about these issues by providing comprehensive information and also the products. and also have time to talk about this home at a personal level with the daughters I have.
Okay.
And I've seen that it's so empowering because I've got a strong
Yes, it
relationship
is.
with
Yeah.
my daughters. At a professional level, we are in the forefront to really advocate for the MHM policy. Like what I've said, without a policy framework,
Yes.
MHM issues will continue to be lumped and balkanized under SRH issues. The other SRH issues. And by putting it there, to flip into a book, its prominence and importance is diluted.
Yeah.
Yes, we are trying to extract it out and also make it a policy. We are learning from Kenya.
Yeah.
Kenya has done a specific, explicit policy about that. Number two, we are also providing sanitary pads to the rural communities. Of late, we have been getting much of them from our partners, but we are also making sanitary pads, the reusable sanitary pads.
Wow.
We are doing it in Menezi, in Chirezi, and partly Bigit.
Wow.
So we are starting on that. In terms of information dissemination, we are doing comprehensive information dissemination.
Okay.
Within the communities, we use radio, we use social media. We have partnered even with my age
Okay.
to use theatre is part and parcel of a way to demystify these issues.
Yeah.
We have done a lot with young people, youth-led organizations, for us to portray because they relate very well to young people. So we've done a lot with my age, we've done a lot with other line ministry, Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. We have worked well with them. Then lastly, we have continued to amplify the voices of young women within the rural communities through storytelling, through the radio, through social media. So that's what we have been doing about it, and also to do research, to provide evidence, to say this works and this doesn't work. And also we can tell you the level of period poverty
Yes.
in the province is very much high, both in the rural areas and both in towns.
It seems like a lot of work has to be done by other organizations to make sure there is a reduction to period poverty, and also to make sure that the silence on period poverty is broken. Thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. I really hope we unpacked a lot. So what exactly are no, not per se. I would just like you to, what are your last words to the people watching, to the organization, to anyone who's watching? Can begin with you, Tari.
Thank you so much. It has been fun talking about this. I mean, having safe spaces where you feel like you can be heard when you talk about menstruation, where you feel like every point matters concerning menstruation. It is a step ahead, a step closer to the actual goal, you know. So my last words would be, period poverty is still poverty. And as long as it's still part of the Sustainable Development Goals to eradicate poverty, it's there.
Yes.
We maximize. We use all the things we have. This is our decade of action. We're still in it, the decade of action. So it's very important that we take that as one huge step towards eradicating the whole poverty concept. And I believe if we leave the menstruation sector, menstruation as a whole, we will never eradicate poverty.
And my parting shot is to say, I encourage men to get involved. If you are not involved in the growth of your daughter, you don't deserve to be called a father. Especially issues around MHM issues.
Yes.
Then lastly, from an organizational perspective, in May, where we are celebrating Metro Health Management Day, we are calling upon the 3D mission, where we are saying every man should buy his wife 3 pens in sanitary way. And
Okay.
we will take pictures, then we share to encourage other men to get involved.
To get used to that.
Wow.
This could be our last words here, but we are never going to stop talking and raising awareness on ending period poverty. The silence should be broken. Until next time, we'll be having this conversation every day, and let them continue in our spaces, at church, at homes, everywhere, even at schools. Until next time, I'm Vesli Maple. Goodbye.